Hi everyone, welcome back. So for today we have some clear ink and some distress ink in Scattered Straw. We have some Cosmic Shimmer powders, mica powders, Nouveau Embellishment Mousse, a stamp chamois from the new kit that I didn't use in the end in the video, one of the stamps from the kit, and also one of the corners with the solid and the detailed bit, which I've already pre-cut out. And I also used the Tim Holtz Alterations tag and book plates. And what I did was I just took a piece of pre-cut mixed media cardstock and just cut it as big as I could get it on the die, because the die for the tag in that Big's die is much longer than this. So I just made it work. So it's a shorter tag, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do to start with is get the Scattered Straw ink all over. I'm just using a blending brush. A blending tool with the foam pad on the end probably would have been better. You can see it's quite splotchy. In all fairness, these brushes are not they were cheap ones off Amazon, so they're not the best quality. But because I'm layering this up, it works fine, and also because this is mixed media, it doesn't matter, so just go with it. So I just built up the colors bit by bit until I was happy enough with it, trying not to put my fingers in it because, well, it's distressing. So as soon as you get your paws into it, it's going to react because of the moisture in your hands and your fingers, your fingertips. And it's really hot here at the moment, so yeah, can't be helped. But I got the ink on there, and then I have just taken a bottle with water in it and just using the nozzle to splotch some water on there. I'm having some trouble with spraying water at the moment, but yeah, and then just dabbing it off. And because I didn't want those stark white splotches, I just went back over without re-inking the brush just to tone them down a bit, but they're there in the background. Then what I did was I embossed using a old Cuttlebug embossing folder, just to get some texture in the background. And what I'm going to do is take the Nouveau clear ink pad that came in the kit this month. I'm just dragging that over the top of the raised edges, just so that we can get some sort of like stickiness on there, so that when we put the powder on, it'll stick to that. Or that was the idea. So you'll see some of that powder, because it's mica powder, it will just go wherever it wants to go. When I'm doing something like this, I actually don't overthink that, because I think it just adds to it, and it's mica powder, so it's going to look real pretty. So don't worry if it does, but you should be able to get most of it just on top of the embossed or raised areas. So once I had all the ink on there, I then took just a little spatula thing and just picked up a bit of the powder and just sprinkled it on to start with, in both the colours. One is a purple and the other one's actually a silver, but it's got a hint of purple in it. It's kind of a cool colour, but I think it's called silver something. And then I'm using the brush that actually came with that, because I've had these for about must be 15 plus years now, these mica powders, and this is the original brush that came with it, so I thought, well, let's just use it. But as you can see, it kind of sits on top of, or where we've put that ink, but like I say, it's mica powder, so it will stick to just about everything. So if you're okay with that, then great. But for the most part, you can see it's picked up the top layer, especially with the colour. So for the sentiment, in the end, I played around with this a little bit, but in the end, I just decided to use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. You'll see in a second when I pick this up, or maybe nearer the end, that the little block, which again was a die in the die set this month, it's got mica powder on it. I was playing around with with a bit of a technique and it didn't work, so ignore that. If I perfect that one day, I'll show you. But I kind of liked it because it still had the shimmer stuck to the card, and it just gave it that little edge. So once I'd done that, I stuck the two die cut pieces together. I used a purple and a yellow just for my stash. I went with this sort of purple, yellow and silver theme. Obviously the sentiment is in black, but that just makes sense. And for the the die cut pieces, they actually stick really well together. You just line them up and stick them with a bit of wet glue, and also use wet glue when you're adhering these to the tag, because the between the mica powder, the embossed raised edges of the tag itself, you need that adhesion to work really well. I could have actually put a little more wet adhesive on here. I think I was a little mingy with it, so a little bit more would have worked a bit better. But it's still stuck. It's just, you know, I fiddled and faffed for a bit. So, but definitely a wet adhesive will work much nicer. So once those were adhered, I used some acrylic blocks just to hold it in place till the glue dried. I then popped up my little sentiment or saying in the middle of the tag, and used some wet adhesive on the back of the foam, again because you're adhering to not only a sort of a bumpy edge because of the embossing, but you're also going onto some mica powder. So again, it just helps to adhere it better. And then for a final sort of touch, I grabbed my Nouveau embellishment mousse, which I believe is the platinum. Again, going down the silver sort of line. And I just used it with my finger along the edge. I know, I went in the pot. I always tell you not to go in the pot. But it worked fine. And, you know, if I wreck it, I wreck it. It's my my own risk. But I just grabbed some and just lightly went over the edges of the tag itself, and then the sort of top edges of the little die cut corners, and then around the edge of the sentiment in the middle, or the saying in the middle, because this is a tag. To be fair, you could quite easily, because of the size of this, you could easily put this onto a card as a topper. Do you remember those? But there you have it, guys. It's very shimmery, but it's just using loads of your different product to put these things together. And just a different idea, if you have the new Tonic, I think it's number 68 card kit, craft kit, then it's just an idea for you as to what you can do with it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye for now.